What's up, everybody? It's LA Visualizations back with another video. In today's video, I'm talking about my Viltrox lenses. Now, I do have Nikon lenses as well as the S-line lenses, but sometimes the budget doesn't fit my needs. Is that the word? That's what I want to use. Sometimes your boy doesn't have money, so he can't afford what he wants. So, enter the Viltrox. So first, let's start off with a 35mm. So, this 35mm lens on the Viltrox website costs about $379, just call it $380. And the Nikon S version costs $850. Next up, we have the Viltrox 50. And on the Viltrox website, it's about $360. On the Nikon website for their version, it's about $630. And then finally, my favorite focal length is the 85mm focal length. The Viltrox version is $399, it's called $400, and the Nikon version is $800. Now, does that mean that, does those prices equate, the difference in prices, does that equate to that much better? I'm not really sure because I don't have Nikon lenses to test that. But I do know that I was shooting a video a while ago on the 35mm, and I was pairing that with my Nikon 24-120. So I was using the 24-120 for my tight and medium shots, and the 35 for the wide shots. But I noticed is that these lenses are very contrasty or saturated. That's where I want to use saturated, contrasty, one of those two words. But what I'm trying to get at is that they are remarkably different in my estimation from what I've used so far than the Nikon version of lenses. To get a I'll probably go to KH camera to get and run a 35mm to see if it holds true. So I can do a comparison. I can really see what it is. But I do know that the contrast is different. Now, as far as in the results, I haven't had any complaints with the results I have. I'll put some pictures up and some video roll up as I talk through them right now. But I've never had any issues with any of the Viltrox lenses I had. Well, that's not exactly true. I did have an issue with the 85mm. I was using it one day and it just stopped working. I tried to update the lens, and when update, I got in touch with Viltrox, and they sent me out a new one. So that was that. So the issue was resolved really quick, relatively painless, relatively quickly. I just didn't have my lens for about 2 weeks, and I was really sad that I didn't have it for those 2 weeks because it's my favorite focal length. But like I said, other than that, I haven't seen any drastic difference. Like I said, the big difference is basically in price. So like if you get all three of these lenses, and buy them from Viltrox, it costs you about $1,140. If you buy them all from Nikon's version, it's about $2,280. So to me, that's a substantial savings from someone who doesn't need the top tier glass. But that's the other thing too, though. Most people won't know what you're using because most people are looking at things on their smartphone or a small device. They won't know any of that stuff, you know, what lenses you use because they're not pixel peeping. So sometimes gear doesn't matter in that aspect, but hey, it is what it is. But let's get back to talking these lenses. So when I first started shooting, I didn't really like the 35 or the 50. I don't have a specific reason why. I just really, really love the 85mm. I love the fall off. I love the compression. I love the depth of field. I just really loved it a lot. However, I know that when I'm doing some portrait shoots, depending on where I'm at, this lens here is too tight. It just doesn't work. I can't get back far enough, and I'm doing this whole thing. So enter me buying the 35, excuse me, this is the 50, and buying a 35 too. So what I noticed is that part of the reason why I bought these from Viltrox is because it was, well, it was cheaper, you know, almost by half. So I didn't feel that I was going to regret it, you know, if I bought it and didn't like it. I wouldn't have been as mad. So like I said, the 35 cost $850. So if I had bought that and didn't like it, I'd have been pretty pissed off that I spent $850 for a lens that I want to use. As opposed to spend half that price and be like, well, you know, I didn't spend that much on it, so it's okay. But what I come to find out is that I do like all of these lenses. Not as much as this one, but I do like all these. I went to Las Vegas a couple weeks ago, not a couple weeks ago, about a month ago, and I just took the 50 with me, and I loved it. You know, I loved it, you know, even though it was a prime and not a zoom. I shouldn't say I only took the 50 with me. I took the 50 with me and the 24-120. But I mostly shot almost everything on the 50 And so I thought that was great. So this is a really quick video of saying that, you know, there's nothing wrong with third-party glass. I am glad that they do have third-party glass finally for the Z systems. So I know for a long time they didn't have any third-party glass. So what I was using is basically my F-mount glass on my Z with the adapter. And I did not like that experience whatsoever, because sometimes I'll forget the adapter, or sometimes I forget that it makes the noise. So for the longest time, I was just using the lenses that I had, which is basically the 24-70 f4, which was the kit lens. I really like that lens, by the way, but I don't know if I ever did a video on that where I left it on a train and it went bye-bye. Not just that lens, a camera, a laptop, a backpack. Yeah, I was not happy. But luckily my insurance paid for that, so I got to replace it. So during that time, I was really like, what lenses do I want to buy with it? So for a long time, I only had the 24-70 and the 14-30, both f4. And then finally, they came out with this. Well, Viltrox came out with the 85, and then I think they came out with the 35, and then the 50. But what I noticed now is that Tamron is finally on board with Nikon, even though it's a Nikon lens, rebranded from Tamron. But, you know, I see that they're going to have their trinity of lenses, the Holy Trinity in their version. So I probably will buy those 3 lenses. Not saying that I need them, but it's just the fact of I can have the trinity of those lenses. Yes, they're not S glass, but that's fine. But yeah, so hopefully we'll see some more third-party glass for the Nikon.